All right. Hello, everyone, and thank you for joining us throughout this day here at the Lytham Partners Fall 2025 Investor Conference. Again, my name is Robert Blum, Managing Partner here at Lytham. Up next, we're joined by the management team of Arianne Phosphate for a fireside chat. Joining us from the company is Marco Gagnon, the company's new Executive Chairman, and Brian Ostroff, the Head of Strategic and Business Initiatives. Gentlemen, welcome.
Good
Thanks for having
morning.
us.
Fantastic. All right, starting off here, looking at a recent press release, I see there's been some changes corporately at Ariane and the titles that I just mentioned there. Perhaps we take a little time and walk through them.
Yes, for sure.
Marco, you want to begin perhaps?
Yes, I'm a mining professional, let's say with over 30 years of experience. I'm a geologist. I studied at the Quebec Université du Québec in Chicoutimi, just very close to the La Capole Ariane project. I saw the project evolve from the exploration, let's see, to where we are today at the mine development stage. During my career as a senior mining exploration professional, I spent half of my, involvement with major mining companies. And then I was able to acquire, management skills, overview large project at the mine site, exploration project as well. And I had the opportunity, in 2007 to found a junior mining company. That junior mining company was called Adventure Gold. And between 2007 to 2016, I was the president, director, and CEO of Adventure Gold. And we made an M&A transaction, in 2016, and we became Probe Gold. And since then, until last summer, I was the executive vice president of Probe Gold. And we started with a small resource with Adventure Gold, and today it's a project in Val d'Or of over 10 million ounces of gold. We bring that project to to the spotlight in the Quebec gold mining business. And today, since the couple of weeks, I'm also the executive chairman of Ariane. With Ariane, I'm involved with them since 2011 as board members. And after that, in 2023, I became the chairman of the board. And most recently, I joined the management team to assist and help them to advance the La Capole project. And I'm very happy to work with Brian and the rest of the management to advance the La Capole project.
All right, fantastic.
I'll just also add by way of history, Marco had mentioned Adventure Gold, and when I was at Windermere, that's how I got to know Marco. We were investors in the company, and Marco and I had a very, very good working relationship over the last 15 years or so, and so I'm really happy to see his involvement here at Ariane grow. I look forward to working a lot closer with him.
Fantastic. And Brian, on that point as well, your role has changed at the company as well. Maybe talk a little bit about that as well. Why the change and maybe why now?
Yeah, sure. So, look, I think certainly some of the investors and people who've watched me participate in these conferences, really have come to realize, as do we, at this point, we've pretty much done everything short of getting a deal done and the project built. And to really, I think, unlock the value that's here in the company for investors, again, it's really all about getting a deal done. And as we spoke with shareholders and all of that, look, that's their biggest concern at this point. And so really the view is my efforts need to be fully focused on getting a deal done. By way of background, again, I was hedge fund manager. I was at a U.S. M&A firm. Just by way of background, the board definitely saw me as the guy that should really be 100% fully focused on just getting a transaction done. Certainly, Marco's growing involvement here at Arianne is a big plus, because really has and will continue to allow me to really move away from perhaps some of the day-to-day and be a little bit more big picture. In terms of why now, we put out our pre-feasibility on the downstream a little over a year ago, and it's stimulated a lot of interest, a lot of inbounds. So there's just a lot going on, and
Yeah, we have been very active in our conversation with potential partners to help us to develop the project for the mine site or for the PPA, the purified phosphoric acid plant. And just like Brian said, since last June 2024, where we had many discussions regarding the advancing the project.
So I was going to say, I think it's really an effort towards taking those ongoing discussions and see what we can do to really accelerate them and get something done. So,
as you said, no, that's something investors are looking at here and looking forward to. Let's take a step back, look at sort of the overall macros if we can, and let's talk about phosphate and its use in batteries, LFP in particular. Maybe talk a little bit more about the LFP market. How are things developing there, and remind everyone of some of the competitive advantages over other chemistries there.
Sure. So
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Okay, thanks, Brian. The phosphate demand for the phosphoric acid has been increasing very significantly over the last couple of years. And in the market, it's the adoption of the new, lithium ion phosphate battery. And that technology has become, the predominant battery in the electric vehicles, but also with the energy storage systems. And this is what we see a very, good increase in the coming years, not only for the electric vehicles, but also as energy storage systems. And because of the quality of our concentrate, it's coming from igneous rock. And to do, very, specific product for LFP battery, you need high quality, concentrate. And this is what we intend to produce from the Lacapol deposit. It's the igneous rock, brings a concentrate with higher purity. And this is why it's better to use that kind of concentrate compared to the Western Sahara sands or other, deposit in the world. And in terms of, location, we're in Quebec. We have power, electricity just nearby the deposit. Transportation, we will have access to, deep sea port. And Quebec, Canada, also, very supportive for critical minerals. We have new policies since a couple of years, and it's on the list of the critical minerals. And we see a lot of, action going on for, developing these type of project in Canada. especially projects who are already permitted. And this is what distinguishes us compared to other projects. We are shovel ready. Infrastructure are there, access roads, electricity, and we benefit also from a geopolitically stable jurisdiction. And the West is looking for securing also its own supply for critical minerals. And the Arianne project is, I think, let's see, very interesting for, let's see, the West, because we will be able to, let's see, to produce high quality PPA from our own, let's say, deposit with at Lacapon.
Yeah. So I'm going to backfill on a few of those things. You had asked me earlier, kind of why now and what have you, and look, a lot of that really is because of the growth in the LFP. So. Look, at this point, a lot of people have come to understand the benefits of the LFP. Certainly they're a lot safer, no thermal runaway. They have much longer life of battery. You can get a lot more charges. So, if we were having this conversation a few years ago, most analysts saw the LFP kind of surpassing some of these other chemistries by the end of the decade. And, because of this growth and what have you, actually in 2024, the LFP surpassed all these other chemistries. And so, I think that as we go through the decade, that margin is going to grow. And look, Marco touched on it. What has made the LFP, and so of course it's EVs. Now I do know that some people are kind of questioning the EV, change in administrations, maybe a change of view towards it. Look, the EV is growing. It's up in 2024 was up 25%. The first half of this year, it's also up about 25%. But energy storage systems, although from a lower base, has actually grown at twice that rate. In 2024, energy storage systems were up about 50%. And it really is an answer for some of the power requirements and challenges that we have. And the LFP is extremely well suited to meet that type of demand, namely because of its ability to optimize its charging ranges. You don't have to let charge all the way up and discharge all the way down. And so these are really benefits, and depending which analysts you speak to, they actually look out a few years and think that it's possible that even the energy storage systems will surpass the EVs when it comes to LFP, surpass the EVs, and that will be the biggest demand driver for these LFP batteries. That's kind of where we really see the opportunity. And certainly as Marco had touched on, it's not just phosphate, as we know it, phosphate concentrate that's required for the battery, but you need purified phosphoric acid. And so at that point, a lot comes down to your ability to transform your phosphate concentrate into a purified phosphoric acid. Marco's the geologist, but we have an igneous deposit, and they're rare. They're formed in a different fashion, as Marco said, compared to say the stuff from Morocco or even here in North America, where it's sedimentary. And because of the contaminants in them, they're just not as efficient in turning into a purified phosphoric acid. So most of that stuff does wind up in fertilizers, and some can be purified to a better level and make its way into animal feeds or some specialty fertilizers. But at the end of the day, it's really we're seeing a huge growth and ultimately a big problem in terms of supply and demand for the purified phosphoric acid, the stuff that the LFP is reliant on.
And I want to come back to something Marco touched on here briefly, but just as a reminder, maybe those that don't understand, and Brian, you've talked about this in the past, but where in the world right now, for everyone's memory, is phosphate coming from? And as that sort of dovetails into this desire for these critical minerals to be developed in sort of domestically or domestically within North America here. Talk about how your deposit sits and how that sort of plays into the bigger picture here that we're talking about of critical minerals and home production.
Yeah, in North America, we are a very small producer of, let's say, high purity phosphoric acid for the quality that you need for the battery. 95% of the market for the LFP batteries are made in China. And which means that in North America, we need eventually to, let's say, to produce our own, LFP batteries. And it starts with the, high purity concentrate. And Lacapol is a solution for, producing high quality phosphoric acid from our high grade and also high purity concentrate.
Yeah, just to put that in context. So most of the world's phosphate comes from sedimentary deposits, and the real challenge in there's some deleterious elements like radioactive elements, uranium, thorium, heavy metals, mercury, cadmium, arsenic. And so that's a challenge as you try and look to purify it to the level that we need. And so although you can take some of those lower quality concentrates and purify them up, you have a whole lot of leftovers that then do get turned into fertilizer. So your ratio, if assuming you can start with a good enough concentrate to take all the way, maybe 10% of your product can make it to an LFP grade phosphoric acid. Now, in our case, because we don't have those deleterious elements, we don't have those leftovers that have to make their way into fertilizer. So Arianne is really in a very interesting position in that the concentrate can really target purified phosphoric acid. So that really does allow us, of course, to target a market that really needs it. It allows us to be a source of non-Chinese purified phosphoric acid. And then economically, it really allows us to target a high-end product like a white phosphoric acid, purified phosphoric acid, today trades somewhere around $2,500 a ton, whereas fertilizer phosphate today trades at about $800 a ton. So if you have the abilities to have the right concentrate and transform it you can really, obviously, address a need for the West, but also capture some pretty significant economic benefits.
So size, location, infrastructure, you just sort of alluded to economics there. Maybe for those not familiar, give us the high level economic overview here.
Yeah, so I mean the mine itself is we had published a feasibility study some time back that showed about a $1.9 billion NPV8. We would be a low cash cost producer per unit of phosphate. And so I think that's something that's important to understand. So Arianne, the Lac Paul mine will produce a 40% concentrate. Most phosphates around the world are about a 30%. So you really get paid for the quality of phosphate. So yes, it costs a little bit more to mine a hard rock deposit as opposed to a sedimentary deposit, but on a per P2O5 basis, we're in a good place. Now, what really kind of kick-started things here again was the LFP white acid. And so the opportunity was in particular for our type of concentrate. So rather than sell that concentrate to someone else for them to make that white acid and get rid of all the issues of the leftovers and fertilizer and environmental issues, we're pursuing a path here where we want to produce our own phosphoric acid. So, take inputs from our mine. And so we ran a study on that. The study showed that we would be amongst the lowest cash cost producers of white acid. We could easily be the largest producer of white acid in the West. So it really does touch off a lot of boxes. But, Marco, maybe, you're from the region. Maybe you want to talk about things like the permitting and the social acceptability and that.
Yeah, we go through, let's see, the BAP process, which is, let's see, important to receive, let's see, the acceptability for any project in Quebec and also in Canada. It's almost the same process. And we have strong support from the community, the local community. We have strong support also from the government, from the provincial and also federal government. In our project, we work with them. We for the port is the for the port. We already had some agreement with Port of Saguenay, and it's part of the development of a new facility on the north shore of the Saguenay River. It's important for the region, important for our project, but it will create jobs as well. And this is why I think we have strong support from the project. Because we have our permit, it's also not too many projects in Canada are fully permitted right now, and it's a huge advantage. Let's see, we spent over 100 million to bring the project to where we are today, with all the studies. And also make sure that this project is accepted by the locals and also from the authority. And we continue to work with them. We have our permit for the mine extended until the end of 2027, and we work very hard with right now with a mining partner to optimize, the mine operation. And just like Brian said, since last year, since we released the pre-feasibility study for a PPA plan, it brings a lot of attention on our project, and we have ongoing discussion with, potential partners as well for the PPA production and the LFP battery. We work as well with, producer of LFP batteries, or companies who need that kind of technology on the EV side, but also on the energy storage. And a good example of the future for the LFP batteries is a lot of wind farms are built all around the world in very remote areas, and you need, energy storage to accumulate the energy when you don't have wind, or when you have large solar panel farm as well. The same thing. You need to store the energy, and we see a bright future for the the LFP in Quebec, Canada, but also in the West.
All right. And just maybe the couple minutes we have left here, the path forward, and really this opportunity here, anything that, we can sort of speak to investors or would-be investors.
Yeah, it's interesting because Marco just kind of talked about the fact that we've been at this a long time, and we've spent a lot of money, and we've checked off a lot of boxes. So, phosphate, maybe finally is starting to get its day in the sun. It's not quite there yet, but starting to be understood as a critical mineral. And so with that, there are other projects, and that's good because we're going to need more. In the case of Arianne, look, we've done all of that work, right? We've done our PEA and our pre-fees and our feasibility study, and as Marco had touched on, we're fully permitted, and that is huge, right? It's ironic, and it's something that is often highlighted, which is the West wants its own supplies of these critical minerals, but getting a permit in the West is very, very challenging. So we certainly have the good fortune of having done that, and so, while in a way sometimes there's less news flow coming out of our company, that's because all of that has already happened. We don't have to drill. We're already the biggest. We don't have to do more metallurgical testing. We make a very pure concentrate. We've shown that it can be made into white acid. Again, we've already got our permit. So, we've really checked off a lot of these boxes. And I think that with the publishing of our pre-fees on the downstream, it's brought a lot of attention, and a lot of conversations are ongoing. So, what's the path forward for the company? It's to take all of these discussions, partnered with the support that we're also getting from the government, putting together a comprehensive financing package with these partners, and get the shovels in the ground and the output happening, because at the end of the day, that's what's going to really drive the value. And I know what your next question is, because we often get it, and it's going to be, what would we say to investors and would-be investors? I'd say, you know what, listen to this interview and understand that the prospects going forward look really good. In a world that is becoming more geopolitically challenged, a Western asset is extremely important. LFPs, whether it's EVs or energy storage or military use, or even things like data centers and AI, that is just going to continue to grow and grow. And so in Arianne, look, you have the world's largest, the world's purest, the world's safest. We've spent $100 million. The market has rewarded us with a $40 million market cap. And so that is literally pennies on the dollar in terms of our NPV. And so, look, investing's all about risk reward. We think we've covered off most of the risk. I just see a big opportunity here, and I think as a management team and with our changed and enhanced roles, that is fully the focus of the company.
All right, fantastic. Well, we're sort of at time here, so we will leave it there. Marco, thanks so much for joining us here at the event, and Brian, thank you for your return here. Greatly appreciate it. Thank you to everybody watching here. If there are any questions for management, or perhaps there's a desire to schedule a meeting here in the days or weeks to come, please send me an email. That's Blum, BLUM, lythampartners.com to learn more about Lytham. Make sure to always visit our website or stay connected with us on LinkedIn as well, so you can be apprised of future events such as this discussion here with Arianne Phosphate. So thank you everyone for a wonderful day. We greatly appreciate your participation. Mark O'Brien, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.